the story starts with a project called Infractures, which happened at B2 in Rotterdam in December 2005. And this project started with the idea that a number of artists were invited to do a project about invisible sides of the city. So, about, for instance, sound which is not perceivable, about territories in the city which are not touchable or not mappable. And the project that we did, on which you can see the projection, it's a recording of a computer simulation on the right side, and on the left side there are some images. The project that we did was made actually in collaboration or in relation with the project with Edwin Madekaitis, who is also here and who is going to talk about another project later on. Our projects were mapping Witte de Wit Street in Rotterdam, and in different ways. I will explain in which way, but maybe just a few words about Witte de Wit Street. The street, Witte de Wit Street, is maybe some way parallel to what are the wishes to happen in this street here, and that is why we decided to show this project. In this street, we decided to map two different things. On one hand, Edwin was mapping sounds from the street, and through the lights they were projected in the space of V2, so you could, with a certain device, come close to these lights, and lights would give you the sound directly from the street. So what is happening at that very moment? So, for instance, you could imagine that happening also now here. On the other hand, we decided to make another overlay over the same stretch of the street, which was projecting temporary territories that were formed in the street.
When I speak about temporary territories, they're formed, like, for instance, by a group of people like us standing here, and by just the simple fact that we are here together and form a certain territory within which something happens. These territories are usually not visible on city maps or certain sort of perception of the city. So what we decided is to map them and through the simulation bring them forward. Witte de Wit Street is an interesting street for the fact that there are many cultural institutions on the street, many restaurants and different sorts of places, like what maybe could be called cultural street. What is interesting to know is that Witte de Wit Street is also a sort of social engineered project. It's not something that just came by itself.
But there were a lot of inputs from the city government, from different organizations like WON, Wijkontwikkelingmaatschappij, or Neighborhood Development Society or Foundation, who put a lot of effort actually to develop the streets. So they, from the beginning of the 90s, were making a lot of programs and different pushes to change the character of the street from the street in which there was a lot of drug dealing, in which there were a lot of coffee shops and Chinese restaurants and gambling houses, to something else, and something that we know today. On the other hand, it's also a street which is interesting for its public life. On the other hand, also there are a lot of different things happening in Rotterdam which are pointing to some sort of problems that are seen as problems in the city of Rotterdam. Like, for instance, places, maybe not on Witte de Wit Street, but places, for instance, where young people hang, and which is not perceived as a good thing, or places where it's forbidden to drink alcohol in the street or gather, places where there is, let's say, large-scale privatization of public space going on, like, for instance, Cope Code. And what we decided to do is to map and extrapolate to some sort of extreme these tendencies on the Witte de Wit Street. So, for instance, we observed how the pavement is used by different like restaurants, cafes, stands to sell things. And we used some of these tendencies which I explained and extrapolated them to extreme in the simulation that we developed. So this drawing maps what happens in reality, and then these different, let's say, temporary territories that are formed, they are translated into the simulation that you see on the other hand. Now, how this model in very simple words how it works is that we borrowed software, let's say, which is called NetLogo, which is used for research of public space usually, and it simulates usually movement of pedestrians. In our simulation, we used movement of pedestrians, of cars, and of bicycles as a mean to map these temporary territories. Here we see the functional areas of the simulation. We see building blocks, we see zones in which cars are passing, parking zones, bicycle stands, sidewalks. Then we see another, this is only visible, let's say, for you in the simulation itself. Then we see directional forces. So people that are moving along the street, they have certain forces which are pushing them or pulling them to go certain directions. Then we have potential fields or envelopes where possible things can happen. So within this spatial frame, something can happen. For instance, if there is a restaurant setting the terrace, it cannot put it on the street where the cars are passing, but only until the edge of the pavement. And in the end, there is a certain street geometry. On the screen on the right, we have two scenarios running. So what we did is that we made two stories. I think that soon the first scenario is starting. This is the second one finishing, so there will be another one starting. And this one was called Reclaim the Street. So what is happening is that you see the street like normally as it is. The green areas are places where there are terraces. Terraces of restaurants, like for instance, big restaurant bazaar is the thing which you see on the right side. You see movement of people and cars and bicycles. Bicycles are green dots, bigger dots, orange, small dots are people, and then cars. And what is happening at a certain point, the city decides to rent more of these pavement spaces to different people. So let's say the pavement gets partialized. And now what you see happening is that these spaces become attractive. People start to set up certain things on the pavement. These attraction fields or these attraction points now start to gather more people coming into the street. That later on, I'm not going to wait for each step, but that later on changes behavior of the people because they become more and more nervous as they meet more people. So they start to behave differently. You can see at some point this, if you go closer, because here it's very small, these orange dots start to become more like moving nervously. We used this simulation as a storytelling machine. Let's say this is not usually the way that these programs are used. We borrowed it from let's say, a research environment, from a scientific environment, to play a certain stories of what could happen potentially in the city if certain policies are changed. So we used it to play different scenarios. Another scenario which we see after that is called Nerve City, and what happens if, for instance, groups of people bigger than 5 are forbidden together, how does that influence the behavior of other people? Why we did this? Because we were interested in how perception of public space and use of public space is changing nowadays. Maybe some 20-30 years ago, it was more clear to whom public space belongs or what is the public space. And nowadays, these ideas about public space are less and less clear. And somehow we wanted to use this tool to show the different transformation of the idea of the public space. And maybe just to show very shortly, then I will give the word to Mario. Just for you to understand that this, in the end, is not just a projection, but it is a certain program in which a number of parameters are set, and this simulation then runs according to these parameters which are given. Each of these steps you can influence and change, and different things can happen according to how you set it up, but also how these different actors, which are independent small figures moving around, what they decide to do themselves. So each time it is different. Maybe I let it go. And what is interesting is that when we were doing this project, we worked together with Mario, who is not an artist. He is not also even an architect, but he comes really from engineering field. And while we borrowed Mario, let's say, into art context, after this project, he actually decided to go back to his, or to new scientific field for him, and he decided to do a PhD program at TU Delft, at the Faculty of Civil Engineering, to develop actually these simulations further. And now I would like to give him a word, and he will tell you in short about another, much more maybe serious project, which has been happening in the context of, let's say, real life and even for real business. It is about Schiphol Plaza, which is model behavior of different users of this space and projection for the future. We just have to switch computers.
We will switch on.
Yeah.
Do we have to?